Hello and welcome to Undead Gaming News, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host Zombie, and first up this week, God of War Ragnarök has received a New Game Plus update, which carries over all your equipment, weapons and skills from your previous playthrough. The only exception will be the Sonic and Hex arrows, which will be relocked again until you reach the point in the main story, when they become available. The update also includes new equipment, including the armour of the Black Bear, which is the cloak that Kratos wears in the opening scene. There's also the Ares and Zeus armour from God of War 2018's New Game Plus, included as well. And if you're looking for a challenge, then you'll also be able to apply the Spartan armour, which has no perk, no stats, and is locked at power level 1. Santa Monica Studio also redesigned 13 of the game's existing armours with new colour combinations and styles, which can be bought at the Huldra Brothers shop when that first becomes available, and those can be applied to any existing level 9 plus armour. A new level cap has also been added into the game, and you can convert all of your level 9 equipment into the new level 9 plus versions that offer new levels of progression as well. The update also adds new enchantments, new progression paths, and more options in the Niflheim arena, including a selection of new enemies for you to fight, and you'll also be able to play as either Kratos or Atreus in the arena, and you can choose any of the following companion characters to fight beside you. You'll have Freya, Brock, Sindri, Angrboda, Ingrid, Thor, and Thrud all available. Some tweaks have also been made to the endgame bosses to make those fights feel fresher on a second run through the game. A black and white filter has also been added to the options, as well as the ability to skip cutscenes. But unlike other New Game Plus updates for other games, it does not come with any new trophies, so there's no extra trophy list for the New Game Plus mode. However, in other news, Crusader Kings 3's next expansion, Tours and Tournaments, now has a release date, and you'll be able to download it on May the 11th, when the DLC hits Steam and the Microsoft Store. Tours and Tournaments is the second major expansion for the game. The DLC will add new grand activities like fancy weddings and falconry hunts. There's also a new tournament system, which will let you participate in jousts, win prizes, and, of course, charm your onlookers as you defeat your enemies from horseback. In other news, on April the 11th, Overwatch 2 will introduce Lifeweaver, which is a new TIE hero who has the ability to pull his teammates towards him if an ally is in danger. Lifeweaver can cast a shield onto them and yank them to safety. This character is of course a support character, however the ability to pull teammates towards him has raised some concern that it might be used to grief other players instead of actually using it for its intended purpose. So in response to this concern, hero design producer Kenny Hudson said in an interview, "In terms of trolling, we do have some controls over where the life grip can be cast from, and it's doing some detection to make sure you're not doing something really bad like dragging someone into a death plane off the side of the map or something like that. Internally, when we were coming up with this ability, there was a little bit of apprehensiveness, but what we found as we was playtesting was that we actually saw a lot of heroic saves with the life grip, especially if you have an overextending tank or something like that. Lifeweaver has to spend some time healing as well, but he will be designed to offer an alternative for players who want to help their team in other ways, and Blizzard hopes that its long cooldown will also help players learn how to use the life grip effectively without disrupting their teammates. Lifeweaver's other major ability is Petal Platform, and it could also introduce a similar problem, as when used he tosses a flower platform onto the ground that raises up into the air when he, an ally or an enemy steps on it. Petal Platform can be taken down by Lifeweaver at any time, and it can also be destroyed by enemies. In other news, the developers of Star Wars Jedi Survivor have explained how they maintained Cal's affinity with the Force from Fallen Order. While many sequels are prepared to bump down their characters' power levels back to the beginning, Fallen Order was about Cal's journey to repair his relationship with the Force, and in an interview, design director Jason D. Harris and senior director of production Kasumi Shishido explain how they balanced the need to start afresh with the baseline of Cal's abilities. Jason said, "We knew we wanted his skills to continue in Survivor, and that was one of the challenges. Enemies had to be made challenging, but Cal still needed to have his existing powers. We had to kind of tweak enemies to handle his new powers. We don't want to take away those moves because they feel good. You can't go backwards and feel like a Padawan. It has to feel that the power level is the same, but also you have to reach another level." Kasumi also added saying, "It's been 5 years since Fallen Order, and we want the player to feel like Cal has been through a lot. He's no longer a Padawan. So when you come back and pick up the controller, we want to make sure that it's accessible for people who haven't played Fallen Order, and that's kind of tied into the tutorial. But at the same time, you would have those powers from the very beginning, and you can still develop. Cal's not a Jedi Knight, he's not Yoda, and he hasn't mastered everything yet, so there's still a lot of things that he can learn, and so it's a balance of not making him too powerful from the get-go, but there's still a lot of progress from beginning to end." The key, according to Jason, has been iteration. As he said, a lot of tweaks to enemy design, new enemies that complement some of your powers or whatever powers you get in the future. It's not like you're just going to push every enemy and they always die. We make sure the stormtroopers are always going to get wrecked, so we have a base. we know where to start from even with a sequel. Star Wars Jedi Survivor will be launching on April the 28th this year. However, in other news, Rockstar's parent company Take-Two has ended their legal dispute with modders that reverse engineered GTA 3 and Vice City. Both parties have agreed to settle the case out of court, and as of April the 3rd, filed a stipulation of dismissal with the Northern District of California Court. Although the lawsuit is officially over, the terms agreed upon by both sides aren't known, and if they're protected by an NDA, they could forever be a mystery. Also, this isn't entirely the end of the matter, as Take-Two is still seeking to take action against the remaining unnamed defendants that were involved. This dispute, of course, dates back to 2021, when a group of GTA fans fully reverse-engineered GTA 3 and Vice City. Those projects were RE3 and REVC, and they offered a range of improvements for both games, including bug fixes, visual enhancements, and improved loading and widescreen support. Both projects were available on GitHub, before Take-Two intervened with a DMCA takedown notice claiming copyright infringement, and the modders argued any code in this repo that is similar to the code or other content owned by Take-Two is either unprotected by copyright or is permitted under fair use. And shortly after that, both RE3 and REVC were returned to the website, which then led to Take-Two suing the project's developers, and the re-reversed engineered GTA 3 and Vice City were once again taken offline. Over on Konami's side of things, they announced that the company's new Osaka studio is now open. Konami says that the new development studio is equipped with the state-of-the-art equipment to create groundbreaking video games for the current crop of video game consoles. They also said that they plan to open the Konami Group's Next Generation Resource and Development Center in 2025. Konami Osaka Studio is a developmental relocation of the existing studio and comes with the concept of creators first. It's characterized by a well-developed environment where creators can demonstrate their full potential, and is set up in a location with convenient transport access. As the major production center in Western Japan, the facility is fully equipped with motion capture equipments and sound studios necessary for product development. Scheduled for completion in 2025, Konami Group's Next Generation R&D Center, Konami Creative Front and Tokyo Bay, is currently in the process of construction. But as for our final story this week, Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund is looking to invest $38 billion into the games industry. It's reported that the country's government is looking to diversify its economy. The investments would come from the PIF's subsidiary, Savvy Gaming Group, which is looking for game projects to acquire but also to develop and publish. The aim is to support the local games industry. Savvy Gaming Group CEO Brian Ward, who used to work at Activision, said, "We are now more of an esports company than a games company. What we're doing this year is focusing more on game publishing and development." Savvy Gaming Group, which is 100% owned by Saudi Arabia's government, has previously invested in companies such as Embracer Group and Nintendo, as well as a number of esports outfits, including the acquisition of ESL last year. Talking about the various companies that Savvy Gaming Group has previously invested in, Brian added, "We would like to use those investments to begin to work with these companies and ask how we can work together on publishing in the Middle East and North Africa, run their esports businesses or develop new IPs together." Savvy Games Group also announced an agreement to acquire Scopely, which is a maker of mobile games including Star Trek Fleet Command, Marvel Strike Force, Looney Tunes World of Mayhem, Scrabble Go, and Yahtzee with Buddies, in a deal that was valued at $4.9 billion. Scopely will be an autonomous operating company under the Savvy umbrella, joining other companies in its portfolio. Scopely will also continue to be led by co-CEOs Walter Driver and Javier Fiera. But that's all we have time for this week. If you have any thoughts on anything discussed this week, please leave it in the comment section below as always, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.